Hello people, I'm the Real Comic Book Gamer. Today I'm going to be talking about the Lazarus contract, part 3 and part 4, because I already made a video on part 1 and 2. This is the current storyline that actually just ended in the Titans book, Teen Titans book, and Deathstroke book. And so yeah, let's talk about, first off, big time spoilers for it. I'm going to be talking like pretty much everything that happens in it. So yeah, anyways, part 3 we get a flashback to see what happened, how the Lazarus contract first started, because we saw before that Robin made some deal with Deathstroke, but we don't know what happened. But basically, we see that Robin goes to his warehouse where Deathstroke basically just tells him he could kill him at any moment, but he's not going to, in exchange for one thing. He finds out that Rose is his daughter. This is, again, a flashback. This is when he first finds out about his daughter Rose, and he wants Dick to train her. He wants Dick to teach her their ways and to be a good guy and stuff, and to teach her their morals, and for her not to turn out like him, like what happened with Grant. So, but he says he's turning his contract with Hive into a Lazarus contract, which that just means it can be brought back to life if either of them fail. So Lazarus contract just means that, okay, the current contract with Hive dies under the conditions that these new terms stay. Like, as long as Dick succeeds in training her, Deathstroke will stop going after the Titans. But if Dick fails at it and she turns up to be a screw up like Deathstroke, then he can bring the contract back to life and go back after the Titans. The thing that confuses me about this is the fact that, does this mean that in this continuity that the Judas contract never happened? Everything with Judas contract never happened? Like, did Terra and all that just not happen? I thought it did, but I'm confused now, because this is saying that the contract with Hive ended this way, to where originally it didn't. Deathstroke did capture all of them except for Dick, and I think there was one other I'm trying to remember. It's been so long since I've read Judas contract, but yeah, he captured all of them but Dick Grayson, and that fulfilled his contract with Hive. But in this, the contract got completed because he decided to start a new one, and it's weird. It doesn't make any sense. Does that mean Judas contract didn't happen? I'm a little confused on that front. Anyways, we get to see that it's still continuing right after part 2, where Deathstroke was being chased by Wally because he's got the Flash powers now, he's got the Speed Force powers, and we see a part where they're talking the whole time, and then Deathstroke just stops and he looks at Wally and he's like, okay, on a level playing field, what are you? I'm a trained killer, what are you? And I love this part because Wally just realizes he's outmatched and runs away. He just runs. He's like, yep, now that we're more on easy, because Deathstroke before could take out Wally West. I'm not saying he would, but I'm saying he's done it before. So imagine Deathstroke with the Speed Force now. What's Wally really gonna do? So Wally makes the smart common sense decision and runs away. There's no point in him dying in the middle of nowhere just to be like, haha, I can take you on, Deathstroke. So I like seeing that. We don't get enough of those common sense moments with in comics and stuff, and so I like seeing that. Then we see Wally goes and he tries to get Jericho, aka Joseph Wilson, who is Deathstroke, Slade Wilson's other son, and he tries to get him to help them. And then we get flashbacks to see how terrible of a father Slade Wilson was, and how what drove Grant off, and how Grant got originally recruited by Hive, which is different than it happened originally, which I think is stupid. There's no point in changing it. And then we see some other stuff. We see what Deathstroke's done with his powers. He completes 4 contracts in 60 seconds and stuff like that. And it's just whatever. And then we see at the end of the issue, he travels back in time to the Ravager, the original Ravager, Grant, his son. Now on to part 4, the next issue, which is Teen Titans Annual number 1, and we see more about how Grant was first recruited into Hive, and how they pretended to be his friends and stuff, and they were just a hive mind of nerds, and they were just really good people and stuff, and they used Grant to of course get to Deathstroke like they originally did in the original New Teen Titans comics. But in this, he's because originally he did it because one, he hated the Titans, and 2, he idolized Deathstroke. But in this, it's different. He just did it because he ran to the Hive and they were all his buddies and stuff. But we see that Deathstroke travels back in time to Grant, when he's the Ravager trying to take on the Titans, and that's when he tries to stop him, which doesn't make any sense, because it's why wouldn't you travel back in time before then? But when we see that he's done this 3 times, and each time Deathstroke has not been able to stop Grant, so he's like, okay, I'll have to travel back in time even farther. Except for the fact that he doesn't, because later on we see that he's still at that same point with Grant. He travels back again and he talks to Grant at the same point. Why wouldn't he talk to him before he got the Ravager serum? That makes absolutely no sense. Anyways, we see the other Titans. They well, we see the Titans and Teen Titans. They try to go back in time, like through the time stream, to like get Deathstroke to get to where he's at, and they end up running into their younger selves, the original like new Titans with Donna Troy and Dick Grayson when he was Robin, and Wally West when he was Kid Flash and all that. And we see that to stop, because if you didn't read part 1 and part 2, what happened there was Deathstroke got his powers because he like used a certain, I'm not going to go all into like what he used, but he used a certain thing basically to get powers from both Wally West. So the New 52 Wally West and the original redheaded Wally West. And so he got their powers. So Damian decides to just stop Wally West's heart in the past. When they go back in time, he stopped Kid Flash's heart. He just like goes and he like punches him in the chest. It does this thing where it stops his heart for like 20 seconds or something like that. And so we see that Deathstroke gets his powers taken away and Grant dies like normal. And there's some other stuff that happens. I'm not going into everything that happens. I'm going more into like what happens with Deathstroke, because that's what most interested me. Like there's stuff that happens with Kid Flash and like the new Aqualad and stuff that I don't really care about, because I don't really care about those characters too much. Anyways, then we see Deathstroke comes back to the time. He comes back to the present, and he's like, "You've taken my son again." And he's like, "I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna save him." And then now he doesn't have the powers from Wally West, but he's tapped into the Speed Force directly. Like this is Deathstroke himself tapping into the Speed Force directly. So he goes to the Speed Force, he reaches light speed, and all the heroes are like, "Yay, he's going to light speed," which means like when you go faster than light speed, you get stuck in the Speed Force. You can't get out without like a lightning rod, and like every Flash is their lightning rod, like Barry's is Iris and stuff like that. So Slade doesn't have a lightning rod, so Slade's gonna be stuck in the Speed Force like Wally was stuck in the Speed Force for so long. But all the heroes are like, "No, we shouldn't be all happy about that. Let's go in there after him and save him." So they basically use Jericho to like get all of like their consciousness into Jericho, and then shoot their consciousness from Jericho into Wally West. So Wally West goes into the Speed Force after him. Long story short, they're able to get Deathstroke out, and then Deathstroke's like, "I should kill all of you." But no, I quit. Deathstroke is finished. So Deathstroke just quits. Yep. And then we get some aftermath stuff, like Damian fires Wally West, New 52 Wally West, because New 52 Wally West was partially responsible for Deathstroke getting his powers. And then we also see that since Damian like punched past Wally, it's so confusing because there's so many Wally Wests. Well, there's 2 Wally Wests, but like trying to get you guys to understand what I'm talking about. Anyways, he punched redheaded Wally West back in time. When he punched him back then, like that caused him to have heart problems in the future. So he's got a pacemaker now. So those were like big things that happened. But yeah, and again, Deathstroke quit. Deathstroke's like done. So this is like, why would Deathstroke quit? Lazarus contract could have been something great. Could have been a really interesting like Elseworld story, but it ended up just being like, it was an okay storyline. It had some interesting parts. The best part was seeing Brett Booth draw in, like, I think it was the first part. It was the first, second part. I'm pretty sure it was the first part. Draw Deathstroke, because Brett Booth is just an amazing artist and one of my favorites, and I love seeing him draw Deathstroke. Sadly, he didn't really draw anything except for, like, the last couple pages of this issue, which had no Deathstroke, which was disappointing. But anyways, yeah, so Deathstroke quit, and that's, like, one of the big things. And Wally West got fired from Teen Titans, and the other Wally West has a pacemaker now. So those are the big aftermath things that happened in this event. I think it was pretty stupid that Deathstroke is no longer Deathstroke, and like this is really disappointing because we've been waiting since the beginning of New 52 to see Deathstroke take on the Titans and see him like take on Nightwing and stuff again. Like I was so excited for that, but instead we got this story which wasn't really that at all. It was just Deathstroke constantly trying to go back in time and like save his son. It was just disappointing. It could have been so much better. Like the hype around it was so great, and then it kind of fell flat. It was just an okay story, and it's like there's no really need to read this in my opinion. I just thought it was Again, it's just sad to know that we'll never get that 90s Marv Wolfman Deathstroke back again. I'm really sad about that, but who knows? We'll see what happens in the main Deathstroke book after all this, since Deathstroke supposedly quits now. It's just, I'm just kind of done with, like, this version of Deathstroke right now. It's just kind of got me pissed off because I want to see, like, the Deathstroke I love, not this character that's incredibly like boring and not near as interesting as the 90s Deathstroke. Like this guy's just whatever. Like the actual Deathstroke would know how stupid it is to go back in time to try and save his son, but this Deathstroke has like no common sense at all. It's like, no, I'm gonna go back in time a million times and like disrupt the time stream and try to save my son. It's just so stupid. It's not Deathstroke at all. Anyways, if you read Lazarus Contract, please let me know in the comments below. What do you think of it? Do you think it was a waste of opportunity like I did? Because I think it would have been awesome to see just Deathstroke versus Titans and had like some other motive behind it instead of I need to go and save my son, and he didn't really even fight the Titans and stuff. It was just It's just yeah, I thought it was gonna be like an awesome like sequel to Judas Contract, which is like the best Teen Titans storyline of all time. But instead, nope, didn't get that at all. Anyways, yeah, again, please let me know in the comments below if you read Lazarus Contracts. What did you think about it? And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and see you guys in the next one.